How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Real Talk number 6. Today, I'd like to talk about whether or not there are communities in the indie space. This is a word that gets thrown around, whether in a positive manner or a negative manner, and a lot of people will say, oh, there's no community. Others feel like there are communities in the indie space. So I wanted to give my thoughts on that. So, what's interesting is the indie space was created essentially because of the inability to penetrate traditional publishing, right? Or traditional filmmaking. Now, in the past, it could be just because people didn't really want to be tied to corporations, etc. But really, in the last 10 years, it's just been because, well, combination of not being interested in being a part of traditional publishing, but also the barriers just to enter it, right? Because they're not really looking for quality or traditional storytelling. In a lot of cases, they're looking for personal characteristics or for people to check certain boxes. So it's not really traditional publishing, which is what's ironic about it. And so people went the indie route. And in a sense, it did create a bit of a community, right? You had a large group of people doing something in the same manner outside of traditional publishing. Now, not everyone was directly connected with each other or friends, but I think over time that sense of community kind of grew. Now, at the same time, there were groups that kind of splintered off. You have drama, you have cliques, all of those things. But what I'm going to talk about directly is why I do feel like there are some communities in indie comics, indie novels, one in specific, which is going to be Comicsgate or CG. Now, I've seen a good chunk of Comicsgate people refer to Comicsgate as a community. And that's because a lot of them have become friends. They've worked together, they've streamed together, right? They have their own chat groups where they talk about ideas, talk about what's going on in the industry. And it's just developed a community sense of kind of ideology. And what I mean by that is, when you grow up in a farm community like I did, you know, you have farmers as neighbors, right? And when one farmer's tractor breaks down, a lot of times that neighboring farmer would come over, help you out, get it fixed, sometimes even let you borrow their tractor, their machinery. And then later on, when that farmer would have an issue, you would go and help them, right? It created this sense of community, especially in small towns, where, hey, I don't really see you as competition. We're all just trying to survive, feed our families, right? And they had pride in being farmers. And so they'd help each other out. And the same thing happened in indie comics, right? Especially with CG. You had all these indie creators that wanted to grow, but also wanted to help others grow. And they realized that, hey, if I help out this creator, they might help me out. And that kind of grew, right? You had promotion streams, you had, tweets, Facebook posts where people are just sharing everyone's work. And it developed this sense of community. And I think a lot of people became comfortable calling it a group or a community. I personally don't see anything wrong with that. I think that's a good sentiment to have. I mean, I don't see how that can be negative. And of course, over time, some people had falling outs. They would leave the group, go after the group, etc. It's inevitable. Even happens in small towns. But there are some people that, really don't like using the phrase community because they view being indie as just straight up being independent in all regards. Like, I'm my own creator, I don't need other people, this, that, and the other. But in a lot of cases, they would still like other people to promote them. I mean, why wouldn't you want people to promote you? You're trying to grow your business, you're trying to grow your, reader base. And then you had kind of the introduction of Iron Age, which is interesting because some people do view it as a community or as a group. Other people view it as a movement. Some view it as both. Some people say they're Iron Age just because they don't want to associate with Comicsgate, and then there's people that are like, "Hey, I'm both." I just want to support indies, and that's me. I mean, I consider myself Comicsgate because all of the creators on my project are CG, and I've had a great experience with that community. Um, if it wasn't for that community, I probably would have a fifth of the funding that I have right now, and I wouldn't have gotten on many streams. And I'm not even a full-blown comic creator, which shows you how inviting they are. And I think I had such success because I went into it with a mentality of not just wanting to receive, but wanting to give, right? I joined the streams. I, got involved. I shared people's streams, their videos, their work. And then, when I had art to share, I received that back from a lot of that people. And that's that sense of community of everyone helps each other. Now, if I would have went into it just saying, hey, I just want people to promote me, I only want to receive, I would have looked like an asshole and I wouldn't have gotten on all these streams. I wouldn't have built these relationships with all these creators. I wouldn't have gotten the phenomenal talent that's on my project. I approached it in the sense of, hey, I wanted to be part of a group, of a community, and it paid off. And I am continuing to do my best to support others and promote them because I just think it's the right thing to do, even with limited time. I mean, that's why I primarily do it on Twitter because it doesn't take much time or effort, right? And I can get a lot of people's work out there. And the more followers I gain, the more exposure I can give these creators. So it's a very interesting dynamic online, really, when it comes to this topic. I'm really confused at the people that don't like calling things a community or almost seem like they just don't want to be part of a community. And yes, it's not the same in a sense as like I said, a farming community, but it is relative. It really is, right? And you'll see it where, for example, if you had a farmer that's like, hey, can you come over and help me, fix this machine? Neighbor comes over, fixes it, and then a month later, that neighbor that helped you out is like, hey, can you come help me, having issues with the milk tank? And you respond, why would I help you? Like, I don't need to do that. I'm pretty sure that that farmer that helped you is going to be like, all right, that guy's a dick. I am not going to help him out. And that's also going to spread to neighboring, right? Farmers, rumor, or, feedback spreads, I guess you could say, right? Word of mouth. And that happens quite a bit. People come into these communities without that same mindset and they just want to take, and then it gets noticed. And then when they get called out for it, drama tends to start. And I'll do a separate video on internet drama. That's a whole nother can of worms. But some people just want to benefit from others. I'm not that way, and to be honest, I've seen very, very few people in CG that have that mindset of just wanting to benefit and not help others. So I do think they do set a good example in that regard, and the thing is they've also been burned a lot to where they do have to be careful and hesitant with new people entering the space because of people coming in and then kind of turning on them. Again, that stuff happens. It's human nature. So, and then again, there's other groups that again they've formed their own little community and friendship, and I think that's awesome. I'm willing to be friends with everybody on the internet. I'm not just, only support and talk to one group and not the other. I don't do that. Um, I've gotten support from many groups, and I'm really appreciative of that. That's why I'm not anti anybody or any group. So I hope this stuff, you know, this whole mindset of, not wanting to help others or being against communities or the idea of community goes away over time. I doubt it will. And, I do hope that the people that are only trying to benefit from those groups or communities, I do hope they get called out if they, are saying that they want indies to grow, but they're not willing to help others, but they're constantly asking for help or receiving it. Um, but yeah, the topic of community gets brought up so many times online, and I see it kind of being approached with vitriol so many times of like, oh, I'm not part of a community. Like, I think the other part of it too is, which I find ironic, this whole cancel culture thing. People don't want to associate with or be labeled a group out of fear of being canceled. If you're indie, you cannot be canceled in reality, right? The closest thing that can happen is somebody attacks you, or a group of people attack you and try to prevent you from getting sales. And I do think there are people that purposely do not want to be attached to groups or communities because they still hope they can be traditionally published. And I understand, wanting to be traditionally published in the traditional sense, right? You go back 20, 30 years, like that would have been phenomenal. A lot of people are hoping they might still get a big break. And the way I look at that is, if a traditional publisher, film company, anything of that nature approaches you, wants to do a deal, and then finds out, oh, you're associated with that group, sorry, we're not going to give you that deal, then they're not a good company to work with, right? You shouldn't have to forfeit your morals or your friends or your beliefs just to pick up sales or catch a big break. So I'm not going to toe the line or play that game because I just don't think that's right. I'm indie. I I'm not going to walk on eggshells out of fear of being canceled. So I have no problem saying I'm part of a community or a group, especially if it's filled with a bunch of great people that have helped me. I think that'd be a bit dishonorable to then say, oh, I'm not associated with them just so I can get some sales. Or, hey, no, I don't really know that person, so you can pick up a sale here. And I see that on the internet where people actually, try to highlight not being part of a group or not liking someone just to get sales. And that's just not my cup of tea. So, yeah, it's a very interesting topic. And it's sad too that from time to time you'll lose a backer, or if, a backer will unfollow you, or if someone will unfollow you that you've promoted countless times just because you stand by your group or you stand up against bullies. I'll do another separate video on that, but it's really disheartening that people can't just accept that you may like someone that they don't like. You may be part of a community that they're not a fan of. Like, everyone has, the freedom to choose what they like, who they associate with, and people should be adult enough to accept differing opinions, different stances. So that's the internet for you. And today, for my little promo slot, I would like to introduce everyone to Rob Hunter's Death Raider. Now, this book is just got some crazy, crazy art. Super realistic. This guy, like Jimmy Reyes, also worked, in the Big Two, and is just a great guy who's out there also promoting others. And this is a super realistic science fiction and kind of like war comic, and I highly recommend everybody check it out. It's severely underfunded, so if you want to support great art, great people, please check it out. You're going to see the art here. It's just, just wow. I mean, this is, this also kind of reminds me of like District 9 and, just some fantastic movies. And it has a really, really good story and message behind it. So please check it out. Let's get him some funding and let's help indies grow. Thank you, everybody, and God bless.